So, they found it again, have they? I thought we'd taken care of it.
The forces of evil are persistent, sir.
I'm
That guy sounds exactly like Smithers.
deal with this problem.
Not James Earl Jones, of course, but his buddy.
Afraid so, sir.
What about Spade or Marlowe?
Marlowe.
Yeah.
Dead, sir. Smithers!
Sorry, sir. He's
Smithers!
Well, I suppose we'll have to make do. Knowing Murphy, he's going to need help. A lot of help.
I'll check the archives and get back to you, sir.
Alright, a little background on this game. This is Tex Murphy Under a Killing Moon, the third game in its series. However, this is the first one I played. I never played the ones before it, the Martian Memorandum and what was the name of the other one? I can't remember off the top of my head. But this I played around the same time I first played Wing Commander 3, and I freaking loved this game, and I didn't even think I would. And I was almost turning it down. My dad was buying Wing Commander 3, asked if I wanted this game too, because, you know, why not? And I was like, kind of saying, we don't really need it, we got Wing Commander 3. But he's like, but I really think you should try this too. It's on 4 CDs, and I was like, alright. And he was right. It was a definite hit.
No pestilence has ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was
The voice of James Earl Jones, his character is called the Big PI in the Sky. I guess he's like God for private investigators. By the way, this music that's about to play here, if anyone knows the name of this track, I'd love to find out what it is. I've tried really hard to find it, but it's almost impossible to just Google intro song and Under a Killing Moon without getting another song that's actually called Under a Killing Moon by some other band. But it's some like jazzy song that like I saw once, heard once when watching a documentary about New York City, and then I heard it again in this, and I really love it, but I can never figure out what it is. I don't know who the artist is or anything. It's this music that starts right about here. Access Software. Long gone now, I'm sure. Margot Kidder, also possibly long gone. Russell Means, I know he passed away. James Earl Jones is still kicking it. Executive producer Bruce Carver. So, you know, Chris Jones is the guy who directed it, but he's also the guy who plays Tex Murphy in these. And I admire the guy a lot. He's very enthusiastic about this game, and like he gives it his all. He's not the best actor in the world, but we all know that FMV games aren't really known for their stellar acting. But that said, he actually does a pretty good job. Like he stays perfectly in character most of the time, I think. These cutscenes are great. You gotta realize how this could blow your mind back in the day. I was like in 7th or 8th grade. I think maybe, no, maybe 9th. No, I was probably in 7th grade when I first played this game. That gives you any idea how old I am. We got it at a store called Egghead Software. That place is also long gone. There's not a lot of stores, I don't think, anymore that are dedicated to just selling software, since you get most of it digitally now. Who'd have thought we'd ever miss such things? And I apologize, I've been talking through most of this exposition. Basically, you got Tex Murphy here, who's a PI who's down on his luck. He hasn't had work in a long time. He's a total borderline alcoholic. He had some success once, but he kind of sucks now, and he's a deadbeat. And here's this other successful PI trying to give him a pep talk. so I'll just let you watch this for a
I
bit.
forgot to take my Geritol this morning. So, you want a drink? I saved my first one to have with you.
No, thanks. I've been dry for 8 years now. Yeah, one morning I just looked in the mirror and decided I needed to make a few lifestyle changes. Quit smoking, quit drinking.
These green screen effects, they're very cut and pasted looking, but, you know, it was enough back in the day to get me immersed in it. Because now if you look at the actor on the right, he's like totally frozen, unless he's actually like they did each of their scenes separately.
Not running around an island with a bunch of nubile women in a loincloth.
See, now Tex freezes on the left, and Brian Keith starts moving again. It's great.
Years now. Yeah. You know how it is. Lonely. Under a
I think even that glass empty bourbon might have been a real prop on top of that virtual desk.
I tell you, I'm working on a case right now, and that's going to be my last one. Enough about me. How about you, Tex? How's life treating you? Bad as it looks?
Well, it depends. What day is it anyway today? Saturday? Well, Saturdays aren't too bad. It's normally Thursday by the time I get really suicidal. So what is it you wanted? Just come by to sprinkle a little salt into the open wounds of my pathetic life?
No, Tex, you got me all wrong. Nah, just because you turned me in and got me suspended and humiliated me in front of my peers, you sold me out. But that's all gonna pass. See, I quit hating you.
Yeah, I guess they had a turbulent past. He did something that screwed over the guy on the right. What's his name? I keep forgetting anyway.
Hey, don't worry about me. When you tossed me out of the agency, it was the best thing that ever happened. Digging through dumpsters and sleeping in abandoned speeders.
Speeders.
Helped me learn a great lesson.
That will be the
No
term in
matter
this
how
game
bad
for a
things
flying
are,
car.
They can always get worse.
So what happened to you? I heard you were doing pretty well there for a while. Did a hell of a job on that Martian memorandum case. What's your problem? You one of those people who can't live with success? Huh?
Well, I can live with it. I'm just afraid
I even love the font in this game and how each character has a different colored text for their subtitles.
15 years ago, I was a stupid kid back then. Could have tried to understand why I told the ethics board what I did. I mean, I understand now that I was out of line and I made a mistake, but why'd you cut me off like that?
Because apparently you never learned the first rule of a PI. Never, ever betray a friend. Now, friendship goes beyond blood and race and politics. You gotta find out who your friends are, then you hold on to them. They're a precious commodity to people like me. Now listen, before I go, I came here with a warning. I heard your name mentioned in connection with a case that I'm working on, and you stay out of it. If you don't, somebody's gonna find you floating in the bay with a hole in your head. I don't need any more strain on my conscience.
You know, frankly,
It's a cozy looking office, isn't it?
I'm a
I
pretty
wouldn't
damn
mind an
good
office
detective,
like that.
and I can take care of myself. Thank
Like
you.
the floors. Some great slapstick there. He's not impressed. So that's the intro, but then I'm actually gonna still... what happened here? Come on. Nothing's working for me. Eh, jeez. Bear with me, folks. There it goes, it's just bugging out a little. Okay, so I'm gonna go to new game. And now... Okay, and then after you watch the intro, this is the proper start of the game. There's 7 days in this game. We're on day 1, cuffing up Flynn. There's a ton of play on words in this game that I didn't even pick up on when I played this as a kid. And I'm going to talk about that more later.
So last night, after 15 years, the colonel walks into my office. Made me take a good hard look at myself. Maybe I have hit bottom, and maybe I do look like hell. Lord knows the only exercise I've had.
That looks like a fun game, throwing cards into a hat. I love how Tex Murphy always wears sneakers. For sneaking, no doubt.
Now I just gotta prove it. I'm gonna scare up a job today, even if it means finding somebody's lost puppy.
So our first day back at work, we're gonna try and find some work. This game is kind of strange, the actual gameplay. I'm actually gonna do something here in config and make it so this is the same size whether I'm walking around or not. Oh, but we want to make it a little bigger than that, I think. Config is this one, I reckon. Yeah, wait. Can I make it any bigger than that? Just bear with me. No, I think that's it, lest I change everything else in it. Rendering quality, everything else seems good to go. Alright. So yes, this is movement mode. And this is a very ambitious game. The graphics aren't that great, but at the time, making this kind of game with its level of interactivity, you gotta forgive some of the terrible graphics in it, because I mean there's a lot you can do in this game. They were trying to create this really immersive kind of world.
Oh boy, mail.
Oh boy, mail. I love every little thing that Tex says in this.
Oh boy, mail.
Everything you click on, he's got something to say.
My phonograph's an old family heirloom. I love to play the classics. Cool in the Gang, Peaches and Herb.
And we can turn it on. Of course, you couldn't just leave that music playing. Alright, I'm getting used to the controls again here. The movement's a little too sensitive just because the computer's just so fast. Alright. So here in movement mode, let's look at some of the stuff on Tex's desk.
Hip-hop English keeps me up on all the slang kids are using today.
Look how big hip-hop English is too. It's not like just a little manual, it's like this big thick book.
Toxic Taste is a novel by Luke G. Trundle, the only mutant popular enough to make the New York Times bestseller list.
Indeed.
My phone had worked perfectly if it hadn't been disconnected. Ah, Sylvia, my ex-wife. Whenever I think things can't get any worse, I think about her and how she totally screwed up my life. She's a woman who loves a man, any time. I'll never forget the day I came home early and caught her with the upholstery man.
Oh, there you are.
And here we are to a flashback
Get
scene.
done with the chair. I'll be sending the bill to your husband.
Oh, Rudy. Let's not think about my husband right now. I was watching you poster.
This is the most incredible acting I've ever seen.
You really think so?
Well, yes. God, I've only known you 10 minutes and I feel like I've known you forever. Oh, yes, look. And look at this muscle. Oh. The way you hold me, Tex never held me like this. Oh, kiss
Tex
me,
is like,
Rudy, and set my lips on fire.
Set my lips on fire. Who said that, even in the 90s? She's just all...
Oh, Tex, honey. I wasn't expecting you home so soon.
See, look how anyone who's not talking is just totally frozen.
The router man keeps calling and asking whether we need our plumbing checked. Well, I got to admit, those chairs look pretty good.
Thanks. Listen, how about I don't charge you on the labor and we call it even?
Fair enough. But from here on out, Rudy, customer servicing doesn't include my wife.
Yeah, Rudy.
See, honey?
And Rudy's just kind of like, oh yeah. Oh, Rudy. Whatever
Married
happened
her
to
for
him?
better or worse. Unfortunately, it never got any better. The Scotch guard that Rudy's upholstering service put on my office chairs will stand up to anything. and I ought to know.
So I'm kind of messing around in his office a bit. I gotta get this, I'm moving around this place way too fast, so I need to see if I can do anything about that. Walking speed, maybe that'll help. Maybe if we put the mouse sensitivity on, I don't know. What else could possibly do it? Okay, that helps just a little bit. I'll just have to get used to it and be a little careful. It's kind of hard to move around some of this stuff.
The fabulous Dior lamp. I bought it for 77 cents. Most of these desk drawers haven't been used for so long, I'm afraid to open them.
Like he's got something to say about everything. So nothing there. You can just right click if you don't want to hear what he has to say about it. I do know one of these things has like a pen or something. There it is.
This is probably the only writing utensil that works in the whole office.
Wow.
Nothing in here but a pen.
Get the pen. Because why would Tex just have one in his pocket, seriously? Nothing in there.
Nothing in here but a stamp.
He knew a stamp was in there. There's one single stamp in that whole drawer, and that's all that's in there.
Patiently to be licked and mailed.
It's a $10 stamp. I guess the post office finally smartened up their business model. Alright. Let's examine some of these things. I'll show you this cool feature. So there's that. Go to our inventory. And here's all the things we have picked up. Surgery gift certificate. That's what we got in the mail. Credit card application.
Approved electronic shop credit card application addressed to the previous occupant. This needs to be signed, stamped, and mailed.
Let's maybe turn down the music volume too if we can. Because it's kind of drowning out what Tex is saying. I wonder if we even... Yeah, there's the option. Wait, that's for the music, right? Yeah. So we'll turn that down just a little. Sales flyer. Electronics shop. I don't know if you remember this, like these pens from the 90s too. Some of the pencils had them, but this little grip thing where you'd stick your finger. I know we need to combine this with our credit card application. Because who doesn't want another credit card in life, honestly? Then we examine that.
Baby needs is a stamp.
Ah. I remember picking up a stamp somewhere. Pretty cool. Ready to mail application. So you have no idea what that's going to be used for later. Presumably to go shop at the electronics shop. Here's Tex Murphy's gun.
My gun. I love it so much.
Get your gun, bruh.
Old trusty sidearm. Been with me since the beginning. You want some of this? Huh? Bam, bam. Hey, bam, bam, bam. Bam. Bam, bam. Bam. You.
Who'd have guessed his window was even open?
Hey, Sonny, can you help me out? My girlfriend threw my gun out of the window. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just pick it up and, hey, don't point that thing up here. That's not a toy, you know.
Punk kid blew his hat off.
No matter how bad things got, I always had my gun. Now I've lost that too. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those days.
And interestingly enough, Tex will not have a gun for the rest of the entire game. Or any other sequel of this game that I recall. I've played the Pandora Directive.
Another pile of garbage.
And I don't recall him having a gun there. Oh, we should probably go out and look out on the street. Let's do it manually the first time, and eventually we'll use the Oh, here's where I learned one of my favorite
The
words.
dusty credenza I've got serves only one purpose, and that's to keep the dust off the floor.
I want a credenza. Whatever they are.
That's the door to the street.
I don't think I've ever seen a credenza in someone's home.
The air outside feels thick, like I'm breathing through a pair of dirty gym socks.
So notice how instantly that loaded when I went outside, but back in the day, like,
But I need to hunt for some
you'd
work.
see like
I would
the
like to
map
start the
loading
day with
like
the
one
traditional PI breakfast.
big giant pixel at a time, like in this weird loading rendering scene. Like, yeah, if you saw those little squares right there. Oh man, this is way too sensitive. We gotta do something about that if possible. I need to change the cycles on this thing. That would probably help. I guess we could take a break here before we talk to Chelsea. But I'll just say a couple things first about the gameplay. So, this is the street where Tex Murphy lives on, and a lot of the game actually takes place on this one single street. You're blocked off by all this radioactive garbage here on this end, and then a couple closed off alleys in the other end. This is Tex's car right here. And some of these buildings we can go in, others we just can't. But day one will pretty much just take place around here.
Coit Tower was once a majestic landmark.
And I forgot about
We were
Coit
standing on
Tower,
the patio
but
at
there's
the
not
base
going to
of
be
Coit
anyone
Tower
here
made
for
the
some
best
time.
chili dog in town. No one's here
So
right
we'll
now,
change
though, so I better
between
check
the
that.
movement mode and the interactive mode. And I'm going to get more into the actual gameplay of this thing in a bit, but I just wanted to show you basically what we're going to be doing our first day, which is exploring this gigantic map. Okay, so it's not really that gigantic, but look, there's something else on the ground.
Well, this is a section of the Bay City Mirror. It's a weekly newsletter that covers local goings-on written by mutants for mutants. I'd subscribe if they had a comics page.
Let's examine that. Well, we can actually look at each story. Okay, but let's take a break here. I'll go back over to Chelsea and talk about some other things that are funny about this game. But we'll take a break here. And looks like 90s fashion came back in the future, so we'll see you all shortly.